Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of TalkFlow. This is episode 16, and in this episode, as you can see, it's again another guest episode. And today we have with us Dan Anisse from Relume. I'm quite excited for this episode because many of you guys know I personally use a lot of Relume's clonables, and one thing that they did come out recently was the Relume library, which is very, very cool, and we're going to be talking about that today. But just to get started, Dan, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, for sure. Hey guys, name's Dan. I about coming up to 1.5 years ago, started Relume with my co-founder Adam, and yeah, we started off well, we have started off as an agency, continue as an agency, but being super, I guess, super excited to be part of the Webflow community, which is something that I didn't expect, to be honest, from the start.
Yeah,
Just joining, starting any of this stuff. It's been great.
cool.
Cool. Yeah, I think what we normally do with all of our guests is we pretty much take them to start not just Webflow, but whatever they did right after uni or while they
Oh
were in uni. So we just
yeah,
want to, if you can take yourself back to, I don't know how many years
yeah,
back, just
yeah.
tell us about
Awesome.
your
Well,
journey.
we can go way back. Yeah, for sure. We can go way back. So I guess my entrepreneurial journey started at the humble age of 16, mowing lawns, but that was not into the tech world yet. So
Yeah.
lawn mowing was my first venture because I couldn't get a job at Subway. That was always that was fun. But I think what I naturally, yeah, like just like every other mother tells you, you got to go to uni. So I did go to uni, and at university I studied bachelor economics. So I did economics at uni. So I still remember, and I did economics at uni. But I guess that was the age of I guess because you have a lot of time at uni. I don't know, guys, been university, like there's a lot of free time, so that's where
Yeah.
naturally I started to kind of think, transition out of my lawn mowing business, and stop selling power bands. I used to sell power bands, so that was like the side hustles. And then I thought, should probably make something a little bit more um, legit. So
Scalable. Yeah.
yeah, scalable. I could actually own the brand. So that's when I started to parallel to uni, started to go into the clothing world. And this is
Mm.
actually funny because this story then relates to Adam, how Adam got involved
Okay.
as well.
Okay.
So I started a clothing brand when I was about 2021, and then that was something that I just went straight into. I loved it. I enjoyed it, and we were lucky enough to. Well, I started that with my friend from school, but we were lucky enough to grow that. We had two two retail stores in shopping centers in Westfields. So that was something that at a young age I was learning quick, about burn rates, paying employees, rent. Like that was like the
Things
something
they
that
don't teach you in
just
uni.
yeah, no, economics.
Yeah.
So whilst I was still studying, the lecturers telling me about some theories, and like, mate, we're doing it in real time. This is where we're learning. So it was an interesting education. So I learned about production because I had to go back and forth from China, which
Mm.
was fun. Also an interesting experience. But yeah, so establish a clothing brand, simple model, buying clothes from overseas,
Mhm.
creating some nice, cool brand, and selling it for a margin. So nothing crazy here, just a standard kind of uh, Zara approach in terms of
Right. And do you
finding what's
design
on
them,
trend.
or is just like a drop shipping sort of thing?
No,
Oh,
no,
I'm guessing it
we just
wasn't drop shipping.
no, no, yeah, we
Yeah.
got it physical in. We had
Okay. Right.
retails,
Right.
so we
Right.
had the stores, and look, I
Okay.
would design it based on how I would be inspired by other designs. I guess is the best form of creativity, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that went well for about 3 years, and then fortunately, again at a young age, awesome experience. Like, cash flow was pretty crazy at that age, with stores and managing rent, and but at the time I didn't really know how to manage the production side of things with China. So
Mhm.
Right.
that to me was just a black box, and unfortunately, I couldn't get back to scale, and I had production issues, which naturally then meant I couldn't get new stock in because a lot of the
Mm.
stock that I was getting in was either ruined or I just couldn't get that timing right. So then
Mm.
I would get hoodies come in 3 months after winter,
The
so
wind.
it just sat with stock. So the things that I just didn't get right, and it did eventually. It died a slow death because then my retail stores had to close because of the fact that I couldn't get stock in, and I ruined my suppliers. So that naturally, that's what it was called, Phoenix. So Phoenix slowly declined, which was interesting to watch again. Another experience. Again, the lecturer guy still up there talking about some theories, whilst I'm just like thinking about, far out, I've just lost, $100,000 on stock. So then from that, this is then when I transitioned into more of the technology side of things, or tech. That's what didn't naturally, and that's when I went down the startup route, where I was like, okay, cool.
Right.
I learned from that experience. I wanted to then say I wanted to build a model where I could get all the clothes, like all stock, but not have to hold any stock.
Right.
So that's when I started to work with some sort of affiliate model, right? Based on just getting like a lot of affiliate feeds coming in, and we own a clip, build up a website which would compare prices from ASOS and Zara, or like ASOS and another retailer. So I kind of thought that was an idea. And then being young and naive, I thought I'm going to go out and pitch this, find investors. Again, still under the name of Phoenix. And I pitched this to investors and got my first investment, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
And then that kind of went down. That's when I went down the journey of building up a tech company, like hiring people, getting developers on. And then that's when Adam joined. He was still he was still at uni, so he was doing his real education. So then Adam joined on there, and Adam was honing in on his craft of making awesome product, and that's when we worked together and we got on really well. And that product, then what we did with Phoenix was really cool. So we built a team, and we had a team of about 10 guys at the time, and then that grew. And then from that, we kind of branched into influencer marketing, because we want to obviously get more sales naturally, right? We want to expand the business. So we worked with influencers. From influencers, we then started to find there was a lot of discrepancies in how influencers were performing. We're like, shit,
right.
I spent $300 here. I spent $300 here. One gave me 1,000 clicks. One gave me 20 clicks. That was not. Spending money on this. So then from that, having the team and having the I guess the firepower to kind of look into it, that's when we decided to kind of go deeper into the analytics space of influencers. So from that, we started to find some really cool insights as to like what would make an influencer perform versus a non-performing influencer. So there's some metrics there we discovered, and that's when we kind of thought to ourselves, this is interesting, and we'd used it internally. We were getting better click-through rates, better sales. So like internally, this was working really well for us. So then we kind of thought, all right, well, that's again more insights there. That's interesting. And then that's when Adam and the team kind of thought, all right, well, if this is interesting for us, surely it's interesting for other e-commerce companies or affiliate based companies, or just people who want to perform using influencers. So we built an MVP, which was just, I love it. It was the best thing. We built a PDF, a model where we would just extract data from a CSV and print it on a PDF. So that's what we automated at that product. And then that was something that was like, shit, people really wanted it. People obviously found use of it because they had that pain point and that problem. And then that grew bigger than Phoenix, the original startup. And then that's when we rebranded it and called it Lumio. And Lumio is what grew into, I guess, something that bigger than any of us ever thought. So that's where Adam and I and the team kind of scaled and grew that. We then built a product based around Lumio in terms of like no more PDFs, it was an analytics dashboard. From that grew to a place where we got I guess noticed by an overseas company in Germany called Influencer DB, and they were kind of like the bigger guys in this space. They were scaling, and they so they're more lucky to get acquired by them. Which was an awesome experience, because then they offered us to work overseas. Adam decided to stay in Sydney. I went to Germany and worked in Cologne for a year and a half. So that was an incredible experience. And then from there, we came back after a year. I think it was after 2 years total. Adam and I just kind of thought to ourselves, well, we want to do another startup. And this is where Relume comes in, because then I guess this is the segue for Relume, because then we thought,
that's
we
literally
don't have
our next
insights.
question.
Yeah, we don't have insights here. So where are our insights? And nothing, because we're so deep in the influencer space, we didn't know what to do. So we thought, okay, well, the best thing to do when you don't know what to do is just to get your hands dirty and start doing things. So that's when we started to first just do a web agency, because Adam and I could smash out websites on WordPress. I remember that. You guys remember the classic Divi Elementor. We were like the Divi Elementor kings, right? So we just started doing that, and we just started to learn about the lawyer, the accountant, physiotherapist. And we're like, okay, that's cool insights. Oh shit, that's insights. And then from there, credit to Adam. He's like, let's just go do Webflow. I was like, man, why? And I'm like on the sales side. I was like, nah, man, like these people want WordPress. No. Like this accountant over here wants WordPress, and this other person wants a WordPress. Like, I'm not going to not say no to that if they want.
Was there a reason why he wanted to move to Webflow?
No, his reason, because Adam is more skewed towards the design side. So he saw he also had the limitations of Divi, and he also saw the potential of unlocking true design potential using Webflow. So then he was like, I want to use Webflow. I'm like, man, you're gonna have to learn that. How long is that gonna take? I want to just keep selling WordPress websites.
When was this, by the way?
So this was about 2 years ago.
Okay.
When we started Webflow. Yeah. No, 1.5 years ago when we started just as an agency. 6 months in, we then decided to niche into
down to Webflow.
Down to Webflow. And it's crazy. Like 6 months in, I mentioned it on Twitter actually. It is legit. We were like looking at this saying, nah, I don't want to do this anymore. Because I was selling we've gone from selling awesome dashboard analytics, like doing cool product stuff, and I was like, this plan's not working, Adam. Like this whole build websites, get insights thing, it's not working. I'm off it. And he's like, and then Adam's okay. So then credit to Adam's like, well, let's just try this Webflow. Let me post something. Let me create a new portfolio page on Webflow. I was like, yeah, whatever. And I remember it was Jan last year. I was on holidays. I was like, you do it, sure. Like let's see what happens. And man, this is crazy, because like it is like I look back and I say, far, I was so close to just turning it off. Posted it, got onto Showcase, and then all of a sudden, I don't know if any of you guys have probably seen and noticed, when you get onto Showcase, obviously you get some exposure. Yeah. And everyone was like, oh wow, that's an awesome design.
And which project was
new
this?
Forms. Our standard website,
the current
our first website.
I remember how I found your website. It was from Rand Segar. He reviewed. He made a YouTube video, and then he said, "Oh, Relume," and I was like, "Yo, this is a crazy website." So then I went on the Clonable, and that's how I found Relume.
That was it. I woke up to this YouTube, and at the time, I didn't know much about the Webflow community. I didn't know much about Rand, and then someone told me that you're on Flux. Flux. What's it? What the hell? Who? Flux? What is this? A platform? and then I noticed that, and I was like, okay, because that was early. I think it was in February that he did that. I don't know. It was around that time when I was like, wow. And then I saw Adam's obviously potential, and I saw Adam's potential and design, but also I always knew that. But in terms of like leveraging Webflow to unlock more potential of design with Webflow, so that was like an eye opener for all of us. And then so that's when, Jan last year, that's when we niched only into Webflow. I succumbed. I was like, no WordPress. But then at the time, I was like, I didn't even want to work on WordPress websites. It doesn't ever even excite me to kind of even do those type of websites anymore. So then, that's when we decided to go into Webflow, and everything changed from that, because that's when you obviously, as we all know, like going into the community, that's where there's a lot of things, a lot of cool insights, a lot of cool things that we can all do together and then learn from each other. So that's where I loved it. And that's something I look, half luck, half persistence. But I feel like it's looking back, it's the best thing was niching into Webflow and using the power of Webflow to kind of unlock cooler websites, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right. That
And I wanted to ask, like, was there did you have a team at that point, or was it just you and Adam?
No, just him
Or
and I. So
okay.
we
oh wow,
only,
okay.
yeah. So it was just him and I at the time, for about Jan to about, because like it was just new. Like shit, we're getting a lot of
Mm,
leads now. Okay, cool. Like this is a little bit of a growth pain. We'll cop it for now, obviously, because we want to keep the quality and maintain. You just want to, yeah, you just want to keep doing it because you want to learn as well.
mm,
So
Yeah.
I think it was only about 4 months in about March this last year that we decided to like build up a team. But
Mm.
we kind of did it in a way where we wanted to build a roster. So we
right,
really
yeah.
like to kind of, when we're working now with clients, we really like to work with the guys who in our roster who are more, I guess, part of our team, but there's more ownership of it. So there's a lot more,
Yeah.
uh, how do I say, like, yeah, a lot more ownership of the product,
Right.
and that's something that we like to almost pass on to the
Mm,
guys that we work with the roster. But the rosters also, I think we've built those guys, and it's allowed us to access projects time zone wise, as you guys know, which
yeah.
is Sydney, has allowed us to also be flexible with time zones. So there's a lot of people in the US or Europe
Yeah. Yeah.
who want to work with guys only in UK, and then we've got people, guys in our roster who are able to do that, and vice versa in the US. So that's really just helped us
Right.
be a lot more flexible. Also brought us a lot of time naturally,
Mhm.
which is then when Adam was building this library thing internally. And again,
Right.
to me,
It,
it's just like,
it feels like you're reading our Notion document, which we laid out all the question. You're just going through it one by one.
oh yeah, because I guess it's just a
But yeah, it's
natural
a very
progression,
yeah, it's
right?
a natural progression. Yeah, fair enough.
It's like, actually, you know what's funny? It sounds so like linear. Like we did this, we did then this, and then
Yeah.
we did this. But really, it's just like
In the
you know,
background,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of things that you do.
things are blowing up, projects are blowing up, clients are not paying. Like you, it's just your standard like other side
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Actually, side note, sidebar. I idea in the future. Do you know how you can rank companies, or you can like rate products? I reckon there's got to be a platform where we can rate clients in the future, because they're not
Right.
accountable to anyone
I see.
in terms of
Yeah,
like, if they
Yeah.
just want to go ghost us, right? For example,
Mm,
I don't know how your payments work. We do 50-50, right?
same. Yeah.
Mm,
$5,000 website, two and a half.
Yeah.
If
Sometimes they
you do
disappear
the
halfway.
work and then
Yeah.
just go, like, and there's no,
Yeah.
like, obviously yes,
yeah.
you're gonna sign a contract, but like, you're in US,
Who's
I'm in Sydney, sue me. You know,
yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
the contracts mean nothing. These
Yeah,
statement
yeah.
of works, whatever you want to do. So,
Yeah.
and I'm
Mm,
like, damn it, like, F him or her, like that sucks. Like
I mean, that's a
we
good
did
idea.
the work.
We could
yeah.
build one quite easily.
Yeah, we should
Yeah.
put out, there should be
Relume and
community.
TalkFlow.
Yeah, it should be community built, because
Yeah,
just
Mm,
hold them accountable.
yeah. Not just like companies, but like even individuals who like
Individually, I'm
yeah,
talking,
like
I'm talking
yeah.
freelancers.
individual.
Oh, the
Sometimes
freelancers. All right.
yeah, when
I
you pay
think
them
Vermont,
to do it,
you had
and
experience where someone ghosted on you, isn't it?
yeah, I pretty much finished all the work. It was 50-50.
Yeah,
Actually, it was supposed to be 50, 25, 25. And I felt the vibe was like, oh, it's fine, let's do 50-50. And then halfway, once the project was done, thank God I didn't transfer it. But everything was, I need to pay subcontractors as well. And then
exactly. We
halfway
got
through the
people to pay.
last payment, he just disappeared and he
Mm,
didn't even get the project at the end. I'm like, what's the point? Like, you just lost half your money as well. I was like,
Exactly. That's
I
what
was
I
so
don't get.
frustrated.
They get off the, like, no, I don't know if it's like this internal business things. They just get off the project. Like,
Yeah, I'm like,
I
wait,
don't want to do it anymore.
yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
just,
why?
yeah.
why?
I mean, a freelancer done that to me as well. I mean, I gave him some money up front to do like subcontracts on a project, and he just made an excuse and he left. And
And just there,
yeah,
like, why? You just wasted my time as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
wasted it.
just
Yeah, why'd you waste your
yeah,
time, man? Just say
Yeah.
no. So
mm,
yeah, I feel like in the future it has to be, because like, I don't want you, Vim, to work with the guy I work with. I would highly say, Vim,
Exactly.
don't
Yeah.
work with him or her, because
Yeah.
they'll just ghost you. It's not fair. And our business
mm,
is based on trust, right? We commit
Right. Yeah.
to
right, yeah,
relationships and trust. A lot of it's based on trust. So
Yeah.
I don't,
It's sort
I
of like a
that
glass doors for like clients, like
yes,
Webflow
it's
clients.
100%, man. I think that needs to be done, because I yeah, I'm
Sounds like a
happy to
good
call
idea,
out these
actually.
people, because then
Yeah.
if they're not liable to us as a company, which they're not, because like you said, they can
Mm.
just ghost us, then at least there is some sort of, don't
Consequence
at
to
least
it.
work with, yeah, don't
Yeah.
work with another person in the
freelancer,
future, because
or yeah,
Webflow community is pretty small, right? And I know that there's a lot of people who come to Webflow and will, you know, want to work with yourselves, work with us, work with and any other amazing talent. So there's not like, we know there's a certain amount of clients who want to use Webflow. So then if we just keep that tight and we protect protect everyone from just, you know, rogue clients, I think it goes to a long way. And yeah, more than happy for ideas. Give me ideas. Message me anywhere on Twitter, LinkedIn, like wherever I am. So let's think of something to build it. Community build.
Yeah. It's a good idea. I never thought about it, but yeah, not calling out them specifically, but it's sort of like having some sort of consequence to your actions. You know, if you're not pleasant to work with, you know, there should be a consequence to it.
Yeah, and it protects our business. These are our livelihoods, and this is how we live. And this is not only us, guys I work with the roster, and then it's just, it's how we live. So that's a long sidebar, but back to
the library.
So then back to Relume. So so internally had some time, but obviously again, credit to Adam, the way he thinks is optimization and how do we build better and quicker. And so internally, we started to use we started to notice that we were using a lot of components and building, but not, I would say similar, but we were reusing a lot of components across different websites. And not to say that, you know, each website has the same About Us section. It's more the same structure, same base.
Same structure. Yeah, it's the same grid, or like same sort of icon grid or something like
that. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we were leveraging the Relume ourselves internally as, and the guys on the roster, using the library as the base for builds. Hence the reason why, like, we release it as a wireframe kit, because we believe you need to style and do it to however you like. But yeah, what's
so
cool
was
it
like a step-by-step thing that you built, or was it like, hey, let's build like a, you know, we need something, let's build and then put it out to the community? Or was it like, okay, you know, we just add to it one at a time as we go, and then you realize, oh, that looks like something interesting, and then you release it out? So
half. So at the start, we were just like adding a little bit here and there. Cool, add this component, and then we were using this internally. And then after a time, when we wanted to make it a product, and like, you know, we felt like, you know, this is cool, this is awesome, and our product minds came back on, which is awesome, because like you said, our as you saw from our story, our natural background is product. So that was awesome. So like, this could be a product, and that's when we then sprinted on that product. And I think we did it. I think we launched it in December, first week of December. But yeah, that we focused. There was a period of time where we focused on it as an actual product, because we kind of thought to ourselves, well, that's when we went to the details of like, well, it's focusing more on the job to be done here, where we're going to be not just creating like random components. We actually want to create components so people can actually save time building websites for their clients. That's how you can see how we've kind of done the how we've worked with the actual app. We've done the filtering. Like, it's designed in a way that helps you build quicker, because we've used it ourselves to build quicker. So it's not just a gimmick. There's something actually saves 70-80% of your time. And we're lucky enough to then release that in December on Product Hunt, and that was just awesome, fun experience. I've never done anything. I've never done something that was good on Product Hunt. I've done a few. If you can see our profiles, I've launched a ton of stuff. It's gone nowhere.
Is this like your sort of first SaaS sort of product, or?
Yeah, well, besides Lumio, our dashboard, this is our first. But what's even cooler about this is it was all no code, right? We leverage probably 10% of helps from developers, but 90% of it is a no code stack, and that's the coolest thing around it. Right? That's why I love no code so much, and the possibilities. And before working at Lumio, we were so restricted by, you know, the development process. So if we wanted to release a new feature, it have to be put into the pipeline, have to be put into Jira, have to be put as a ticket, have to be put into a sprint, and your classic
development process.
So the cool thing about the library is that we built 90% of it using no code, which I feel like is just a really massive eye opener for myself into not only to the Webflow possibilities, but the no code possibilities. And I feel like no code is an awesome tool that allows you to no code is an awesome, I guess, concept that allows you to get things up and stand things up really quickly. Obviously, yes, if things scale and they go nuts and you go a million users, whatever, that's when it warrants you to go and invest further into this, whether you want to build a team around it, whether you want to get investment. But the cool thing is, like, it gives accessibility to anyone and everyone who can obviously learn to stitch things together, that you can stitch something together, get some early traction. If it does get early traction and things go well, great, build a team around it, put more infrastructure. But as I know from experiences, creating more infrastructure takes time. And by the time that you build infrastructure, you're 6 months in. A Relume library guy just came around and did it in 2-3 months. That's where speed's everything. And then now we can, invest in infrastructure if you want in the future. But for now, it's just something that you can work quicker,
rapid prototyping,
prove your ideas quicker. And naturally that means you're in the market first, and you get the most important thing, right? Feedback from people, real people, and people willing to pay for your service or product of what you're doing.
Because otherwise you're just stuck in this whole thing of like, let's build it until it's perfect before we put it out. And by the time you put it out, somebody's already built it, and you're like, okay, there goes the one thing that we had.
That's the killer of all startups.
But I think one question I wanted to ask was the copy and paste feature, and I'm guessing that's the 10% of the code that you had to do was to allow but could you tell us how it works, or where did you find it? Because I only see it in like the flow base.
So of course Flowbase has it. We have it. It's the just leveraging what the code or JavaScript that you're doing on Webflow already. Now on Webflow you can copy between each project from one project to another. So it's just the same, using the same infrastructure as that to make it happen for us. And that's where I feel like, again, from a speed point of view, super important, right? Because if we were to just dump 650 and we've got another probably 100 coming in on first, we like to call it component day. First day of every month we'll be dropping more components, so we'll drop probably another 100. Then I don't know if any of you have a big Webflow project, but when there's a big amount of components or it's large, it's slow. So filtering through a massive project, just scrolling through to find your component doesn't make sense from a job to be done perspective. So that's why we've kind of lifted the components out of Webflow and put into our app, so it just allows to help with the speed of the build. So you can see that you can filter and find a component on the left, or find a line left component, button a line right. All right, so you can go to that granular detail to find the component that you're looking for. Whereas if you're going to do that, and I saw the master component, like that will take you forever. It defeats the purpose of having 600
library.
A library of components. You're correct. So that's why it needed to be done, and we weren't just going to release it. Because to be honest, we thought about it, right? We're like, in terms of for the sake of speed, for the sake of getting your startup out there, in terms of like getting yourself known. We're like, okay, let's just potentially just drop the library workflow project and just get people to make that a clonable. And it's just like, well, then it defeats the purpose of what we're trying to emphasize here. And I feel like with a product over time, there's other features you can release when you get more feedback naturally of how to even make it quicker. So once you have that, I feel like the reason why we obviously opted for a product is that once you have that environment, is that you can use that base or that product to add extra features in the future to help it make it even quicker. And I feel like that's the best thing we did there. And also, to be honest, the other thing we did, in my opinion, I think the best thing we did was adopting the client first style system. I feel like that has been a no-brainer for us. I feel like having one central style system to rule them all, I feel like that helps with consistency, helps with us passing on, like, if we're working together and we know it's just client first, and we can share our projects together and we know exactly how it's been done, how it's been structured, how it's been set up. I feel like that consistency just allows for fluid development between different developers, and it's worked so well with the roster, right? Because if we've got a project where it's like a build on client first, and then when they pass it back to clients know how to do it. But also, most importantly, in the future, once we're releasing more components and we're doing other themes, it just works even better. So
Yeah.
that's, I think, another thing that we decided to do.
Yeah,
And
because I
feel like
remember when the Relume library came out, the first question I had in my mind was what's the framework for it? And
Yeah.
then I was kind of, but then I checked it was client first framework. I was like, I'm sold already because I use the client first framework, and I was like, it's a no-brainer to purchase the
Exactly.
Relume library. So that was the thing that kind of was a make or break, and gladly you made it. So yeah, it was definitely. Yeah.
It worked out well in the end, and just a lot of things half luck, half like skill. Then I feel like that was, it could have gone either way, right? Could have been people like, we don't use client first, but we knew the adoption of client first was pretty strong, and just thought that it was just smart, right? Like, I didn't want to build something from scratch, but also,
and it's also like a co-marketing thing where
it also
it
helps with co-marketing,
Mm.
working with FinSuite, because then when they make client first better, and like you've already seen with the resizing feature they've done, it makes our product better. So it works both ways. And then client first wants more adoption, or FinSuite wants more adoption with client first, we've got a whole library to just get you started overnight.
Right.
So it's just it works well together. So I feel like that worked out well, which is
So was the response to the Relume library, better than you expected, or how was the response from the community?
No, I think initially with Product Hunt, you always like, well, from my limited experience of a Product Hunt launch, it was awesome, right? You just get a lot of signups, thousands of signups. Now, whether or not they convert is another thing, right? So then that was an interesting insight as the conversion rate based on Product Hunt. But I feel like the most exciting thing is that January's growth has been better than December, and there's not so much influence of Product Hunt, which means then obviously it's done its job in terms of responding well to the community. The community likes it. So then hopefully, and we continue our growth in Feb, because look, in the end of the day, this is going to be pretty much 90% of where we spend our time on. I feel like we're going to be niching pretty much all our time into this as of now, because the opportunity is there. I feel like the space is great, and I feel like there's so many more things we can do as well for the mission of helping freelancers build quicker but still maintaining quality. I feel like that's the mission, right? But there's so much more things we can do around that, more components, different features, class ways of potential class syncing, and like converting your other project to be client first. So the things a way of things like that, because if you can kind of get all into the same environment, that helps with the speed of build. So Jan has been awesome, because I was nervous after Product Hunt it just goes like this. So I read what I read, right? What I read of like people's posts on indie hackers or whatnot. Product Hunt, and then you die. So then we haven't died, still here, still growing. It's actually better than last month, and then I hope Feb just continues this growth, because the more support we get, the more we invest our time into it.
Yeah, and I think the Webflow community, it's a bit slow and steady sort of growth. Even with like something like client first and whatnot, it didn't like shoot and then drop. It kind of had a little bit of its growth, and it kind of grows continuously as more people start to use it.
And naturally, Webflow is going to grow as well, right? So then that means more people or clients,
beginners as well.
And then when more clients come to Webflow, they're going to ask freelancers for Webflow projects, which kind of compounds over time. So I feel like Webflow will, in my opinion, will be probably the most dominant platform for product and marketing sites. Obviously, I know they're going to be releasing some sort of logic features, right? So people can start building product or like MVPs for products, similar to Bubble. I feel like that's where they can become almost on the same par as Shopify, because Shopify, in my opinion, has dominated and is the GOAT for e-commerce. Like, you can't comp with that. There's there's an ecosystem around it. There's the app marketplace that's built around it, the plugins. Obviously, I don't know where, if I believe Webflow might go down that space of marketplace, which obviously makes things incentivize developers to build more cool things. But then obviously
Yeah.
it's also a good thing that they control it, because then you just don't want it to become too plug-in-y, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sites clunky, you know what I mean? And I feel even with Shopify stores, I haven't got into a lot of detail with, I haven't done a lot of development in Shopify, but I know that a lot of Shopify stores I looked at or worked with, when they've got about 10 plugins, it becomes almost down the WordPress path, right? Where it's just like, oh, that's that
Yeah.
plugin, and I don't know why it's not quick anymore, because they've injected 10 plugins in the checkout.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I think it's already
it's a balance. It's a balance.
it's quite cool already within the Webflow community without even official support for a lot of the things. There's already a lot of things that kind of support Webflow, like JetBoost and FinSuite and Relume library.
Oh yeah.
And I'm now like even the Chrome extension, the FinSuite Chrome extension, it's just it's not officially supported. But it's right there, right next to the actual features of Webflow. And then now you wonder, what if they actually open up, the front end logic or the back end API or whatever? That's gonna
That'd be insane.
But I can also see how the whole site tab is gonna be like dominated by so many other plugins.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be like quite hard to manage. Not just our work, but client work and stuff like that.
It's true. That's why I think Webflow takes this seriously, because they don't want to create a smorgasbord of features within their app, which could make things interesting, right? So who knows where that space will go? But I'm sold on Webflow, like even from the point where you can jump straight into Webflow, and in some instances, depending on the situation, skip Figma. I feel like that's what we've kind of not proven, or that's what we've done internally, right? I know Figma is still used a lot of the times for client handoff, getting approval and stages, or if I'm a designer and I pass it on to my Webflow developer, obviously that's when it's 100% needed. But when you're a solo independent unit, you can just go straight into Webflow. You can design straight into Webflow. I feel like
I think that's the whole point of Webflow. I feel like you design and develop the sites. And right now people kind of use Figma and replace a WordPress developer with a Webflow developer. And I kind of see a lot personally when I work with all of these Figma to Webflow projects. I'm like, that's not how it's supposed to be. It's like somebody needs to design it and they should be able to build it themselves. Because then you don't have to have all this developer, designer handoffs and client feedback of like, oh, why is it not the same? Why is this? Oh, why can't you do this on the web? And you're like, just let me design it. Just let me build it.
Yeah. So there's some arguments for and against. I don't know. Obviously I feel like I just say that it really depends on your situation. If you're a solo builder and you're building things yourself and you're doing it from design to build, I just think that sometimes. And again, if the client's like, no, I want to see Figma wireframes, or I want to see a Figma UI concept, then obviously yes, you're going to do that. But some are just like, go crazy, do what you do, and then in that instance, improve you again. Because at the end of the day, with a freelancer, our time is money. So if we can optimize our time and obviously still maintain the same amount of output, then that's how we make profit. So at the end of the day, that's the core thing to it. Our time is cost of good. So that's what
I think I think Webflow, when they were initially starting out, they did have that message that Webflow is for development. Webflow is where you just design and develop at the same time. But I think they've kind of pushed that message back, like, because I haven't really seen them push that message now. I don't know. I just feel like they've perhaps, like, when they were first starting out, that was their message entirely. But now they've kind of like added more messages. I feel like they might have pushed that back a little bit. I'm not sure why. Maybe because that's not the unique selling point anymore. It might be because
when you get a designer, when you get a designer onto Webflow, they pretty much build as the Figma file and not how the web should be built.
Yeah, exactly.
Which kind of goes against like accessibility and all of these other issues that comes as a developer that you need to think. And as a designer, you don't really think about responsiveness. You think about 2-3 breakpoints, and that's it. And for them to get their mind around all this, how the web works, there's a lot of teaching for them to be done. So I think just pivoting to like, it's a development tool and not a design tool as well.
Yeah, because I think Webflow initially they said it's for designers.
It's a tool for like designers.
Changed a little bit.
Yeah, they've been like more emphasizing, the speed of changes. Look how quick it is. You don't have to go through the developer loop to change your homepage, or to like you don't have to
Mm.
call one of the funny ads.
Yeah,
But yeah, look, who knows?
and even
Like,
them with the
yeah.
whole membership and logic, I think they're doubling down on like it being a development tool rather than a tool for designers. Because I think
It's
that would,
interesting. Yeah. Actually, it's a
I think
good
that's gonna
point.
make it. Yeah,
And if they release product, that's it. That's in terms of like that's hands down the logic thing. If they once they do that or how they do that, and you can start to build product, it just oh man, that unlocks so many cool opportunities because then you just
definitely.
unlocked
You
a
know,
whole new market of development, right? As a
yeah,
whole new market of clients that want development. But also, most importantly, it also unlocks the way that you maintain product. You know, in terms of like the cycle of or the flow of if I need to add a feature, it's kind of then owned a bit more by marketing and product, not so
yeah,
much on the engineering side. So like, who
yeah,
knows? And I feel like that's the biggest opportunity to solve, right? And if like, my limited understanding of running a web builder company, but I feel like that's where I don't know. I feel like that's where the biggest opportunity lies. Bubble do what they do there, but I've used it a couple of times. I haven't really got into the groove. I'm not going to say that it's not the worst thing or the best thing. I just have limited experience in it.
yeah,
But from my experiences, I've built a couple of things. It's pretty cool. But I just felt like there's a lot of limitations of the design, and that's where Webflow does extremely well, right? They
yeah,
kind of unlock true design potential of
Yeah.
whatever you want, whatever's in your mind, you can build. So yeah, I feel I hope they go down that route because that helps components be even more functional, right? And then also makes it even cooler because you can build a dashboard
yeah.
component.
And
You can
imagine
build
that that could be
it'd
part
cool.
of the library one day. You can just not even
Oh, yeah.
copy the front end, just copy the back end of it and just paste it in. And the whole setup is already there. That's like, I can.
Who knows?
Who
Who knows, Vim? But the future looks good. Exciting.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm curious about the team behind Relume. Are they freelancers most? I'm assuming they're all freelancers at the moment.
Yeah. So for at the
Right.
moment, the only full time we've got is obviously my Adam and myself. And yeah, our roster's all freelancers. Now with the library side of things, though, we do have at the moment 2 extra part time on top of us. We're just dedicated onto the library. So that's it at the moment. We're staying lean purposely because I feel like
You don't
need
really
to
need that
scale
many.
up
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
you're
You usually
ready.
get these clients who come in and like, oh, a WordPress agency, they're so big, we feel more comfortable going with somebody that big. I'm like, you don't really need that many people to develop a Webflow site. So it's very hard to communicate that to them.
100%, but it just depends on their process, right? So and the guys in our roster, they're awesome because they're 0 to 1, right? And that's, in my opinion, how you should build your websites. You shouldn't do the stages because that causes just unnecessary stages and back and forth, and it reduces speed. Whereas if I can just work with one person who can do my wireframes, if I need to do my design and build, that's the optimal flow, right? And that's how I can get a website in the market in 6 weeks.
Are they all designer developers, or are they more developers?
So some of the guys, no, I think at the moment it's about 80% developers, 20% of the guys who can design but just want to focus on building. And again, some just want to focus on the building side of things, which is fine. And some of the guys wanted to obviously design and build, which again, but then I don't know if you guys think, do you get we get a lot of clients now who come to us and just send us the Figma file, right? And they just want us to build, which from a business point of view, it is the most straightforward and obviously the most least subjective, right? Because you're just like, that's our Figma file or sketch, build it. Cool. We obviously build it, but obviously bring it to life. Don't just build a static website, which I've seen happen a few times. But that's obviously the most, from a business point of view, it makes sense. But then I still think you need that design. Even if you have that design mind and you're still building in Figma, it's still a benefit, right? Because then you're suggesting and doing things to make it a little better. Because sometimes Figma designs are not always fully fleshed out, right? And they don't even sometimes give us mobile designs. So then you just have to like
fill in
build
the
best way
blanks
of mobile. So so at the moment, the team is completely distributed. Team is flexible. I love it. I love the fact there's no like that's I feel like the future of work, right? I feel like the future of work is going to be more around this incline. Like you're not going to have massive, I guess, bloated teams like you said, the WordPress agency, right? Who just got 5 people doing what one guy can do.
One person can do.
Yeah. I feel like that's incredible, and also gives us the ability to get awesome talent, but that talent can also do what they want, right? You're not captured.
Exactly. Yeah.
That to me is what awesome talent should not have to be only dictated to
just one
thing.
job,
They just to do what they do and do what they do good. So I feel like that's important for the future of work for freelancers. Freelancers need optionality, but they also need consistency. And because obviously it's their lives, it's their business. I know this firsthand because we are and were an agency. So I know everything about being consistent. So if we can build our model with the roster to be consistent and provide that consistency, that's what we're doing. We're going obviously very hard on the branding side and building up ourselves from a brand point of view. And obviously the bigger your branding get, the more reach you get, the more people inquire. That's awesome, right? And we can create that consistency, because what we like to do is only pass on projects that are won. So once a project has been won, that's when we involve the roster to say who would like to take this on. We don't pass on the guys from the roster for them to close. We close, pass on. So that's obviously a cool, distinct difference. But what I like, the problem we're solving there is, because we had the problem ourselves, is that we're solving consistency. So if we can put and land more projects over time, that helps freelancers get more consistent work. More consistent work means that you can make it more of your thing, and then that's awesome. You get that's just as good if that's what you want to do. And building websites, I feel like that's an awesome lifestyle.
Yeah, because I think I was speaking to Vermalin like 2 weeks ago about our goals, and I think Vermalin asked me, what is your end goal? Like, what do you want? And you literally just said it, like you want to be close. I personally want to be like closing clients consistently and just handing it off to my roster, right? And so I'm curious, like, how are you at that point where you've solved that problem of consistency?
We're getting a lot more consistent than we were at the start of the year. 100%. Because it also becomes, you become better understanding of what clients want. Like you just more versed of knowing what they actually are looking for, so you can be a little bit more kind of efficient with that. Before I would, when I first was, because I was never in website sales, I would kind of drag it on a little bit more, but now I've got a better understanding of what they need, so then I can kind of come back a lot quicker as to what it's going to cost, timings, and obviously we've got experience of knowing how much things cost and how long things take. I'm very open. I don't know about you guys, but I hate saying there's going to be X amount of time for design projects. Because then we get caught in the infinite design loop, I call it, where you're just stuck for about bloody 2 months on design. And it's a subjective world, so no one's right or wrong here. It's just design, right? So that's the only thing where I know. That's why I know why people only take on development jobs, because obviously they can just know that will probably take 4 weeks, and it most definitely will take that time. So just getting better at closing, which obviously helps more consistency. But when you have a full, like the byproduct of obviously building the brand of Relume for the library, obviously naturally creates more of a reach, and that reach helps get more leads, which is also helping us drive the consistency. So I feel like the harder we go on the library and the better the library gets, one, it's just a better tool for the guys on the roster and for everyone else in the community to build more effectively. But two, we get more of a reach, which naturally means we can get a lot more consistent. And that like we said, the consistency is the biggest problem when it comes to building freelancing.
Yeah, definitely. I think I remember at one point, when I checked out that Flux video where he reviewed your website. But I think when I checked out your website at that time, it mentioned that the only service you offered was Figma translation into Webflow, I believe. So did that niche change, or?
So we just offered that as we made that as a clonable, that page of that service, which is why that one got everywhere. And that was our biggest clonable, which is probably
Mm.
why you saw that. But that's just
Oh,
a
okay.
sub service of what we obviously do as well.
Okay.
So
Right.
yeah, so then currently as of right now, we can again, when I open up and talk to clients, it's just obviously what are you looking for? If you're looking for design, cool, you can do that. If you're looking for Figma to design, we can also do that as well. So it just depends on what they need. Hopefully they've got more Figma designs.
Yeah. So I just want to go back on the consistency part. What do you think was the biggest thing that you've done that had the most impact on, reaching that goal of consistency?
Yeah, for sure. It's content, and it's
Okay.
putting content out into the community, whether or not it's YouTube videos, whether or not it's clonables. I feel like that creating resources is like the how you can get more consistent, because then it's a win-win, right? You create free resources for the community, which obviously helps and benefits people for Webflow, and then naturally you get more exposure, and then from that you get more consistency with the leads. So
Right.
yeah, I feel like they go hand in hand, and we've been lucky enough now to have the ability to focus purely on content, obviously slash product, but yeah, focusing on the content is what definitely helps with your consistency. So yeah, I feel that's it.
Yeah. I think Vimalin, you're in the process of like hiring. So perhaps, I don't know, like Dan, do you have any like tips on how to
I was gonna ask.
hire like good freelancers?
Not just hiring, but
or-
it's sort of like team management, because
Yeah.
coming from like a freelancer, it's been quite different to work with the team, and trying to say what you have in your mind is more challenging than I thought it would be. And I'm like just learning so much. But yeah, any tips that you have for hiring or like just working with other people? How do you build? Because the issue I have, like the not issue, but like the thing I'm worried about is like if everybody's a freelancer, it's very, I don't know how to get them on board to like a single goal, if that makes sense. Because everybody's it feels like everybody's in it for their own. But how would
of course
you,
their
how
own
would you,
branding, like their own,
Yeah.
No, for sure. I guess, look, I feel like first and foremost, design, right? You can tell they have a design eye looking at their portfolio, looking at what they've done. That's naturally like they've got it or they don't. Right? I feel like that goes without saying. Oh, that's up to us or yourselves to decide if that's the design that you like. And again, what I think is good design, you might not think, and vice versa. So first and foremost is looking at portfolios and understanding from a freelancer's point of view if that's the design angles that you like. And then, to be honest, man, after that, I don't talk so much about their projects, what they do. I just want to get on a call and then see if I can get along, or just be just because, like, in the end of the day, it's just good people, right? A good person, and you can tell over video. Obviously, first impressions. Video chat is something where I like to do, obviously to get our first impressions. But I feel like, if I get along, I like likability. That's something that I 100% would want to work with. And then obviously after that is all good. And obviously we've looked at a few of the preview links naturally, just to see if classes are not all in jumble or a mess. Like, there is some consistency as to the builds. It just comes down to then you got to take that risk. Unfortunately, my opinion is that you don't know until you work with someone in that project. I like to really, really emphasize ownership and accountability, and that the fact that you guys own the project. So I feel like not being a micromanager obviously is one of the biggest assets that I'd like to do and pride myself on, is not one bit, because I've engage or work with these guys on the roster because I feel like they're 10 times more talented than myself. So I'm not going to tell them how to do anything in terms of process or design. That's what they are. So
I see.
I'm not here to be the person who creates the orders. I'm here to be the one to facilitate awesome designers with awesome clients. So that's how I feel like it helps with the ownership, because I'm not micromanaging. And then the second part is, it's still a risk. 100%, you don't know. And unfortunately, until you hand over money and exchange services, you will truly see what someone is like. Obviously, there are ways of reducing that probabilities of people going rogue, but from our experiences, you can never be 100% sure, and you only know once you've done a project together. Obviously, you can probably start small, classic, start on a small project, and if that goes well, then level it up. So that's and then obviously once we get consistency with our projects, that's it. Like there's no more back and forth. It's just consistent, and we know that what we know what the output will be, and the output was always normally all the time awesome. The only thing we just can't control, like I was saying before, is clients. I just unfortunately I get along really well with them by video, but circumstances change within their business, or circumstances change with them personally, which then impacts the project. So that's the only thing in freelancing Webflow agency world where it's just a little bit out of our control at the moment.
Cool.
So,
And so I think we can wrap up with like one last question is what do you have planned for this year, for 2020? Any goals?
I feel like the goal is just to build the library into the Relume library and into a more of a just continuously optimize the library and make it better for the community who's using it, which then in turn helps them build more effectively and reduce their time, which that's our first goal. Always creating awesome content to provide more resources for the community within clonables and YouTube videos, and then from that hopefully that drives more consistency to the roster, so then we can solve the problems of freelancing, getting more consistent work. So I feel like if we can, it's the three things. If we can drive those three things, I'm a very happy person.
Cool. And any other products that you have in mind or in plan that you want to sneak peek?
Not that we know. Actually, now that you mentioned it, we are looking to release something called contributors, and what contributors will be involving is the ability for this actually solves consistency, we hope, is to involve if freelancers want to create components for a library, awesome. All right, and if they create components for the library, we're going to have a leaderboard which then redirects back to your website. Then obviously hopefully Relume, we do our job and drive more leads to us and drive more clients to our pages, and then that naturally would then make them interested to see who is the leaders or who's creating
it's like a show, it's like the showcase, isn't it?
Similar to that, and then obviously redirect back to their portfolio. So we will probably be dropping that tomorrow, Friday. Australian
Friday.
Oh, I see.
So
Aussie Friday,
the day after tomorrow.
So I think we'll mention it tomorrow. We'll be mentioning it tomorrow. Okay, I don't know what tomorrow
is.
We'll be mentioning it as well.
I mean, I think by the time this episode is out, it should be already out.
Probably be like last week.
Hopefully. Okay, so that's something that I feel like that. Again, solving the problem of consistency. We hope that can help drive more consistency. It's a win-win. Obviously, we get more components. You guys get more exposure. So that's something, I guess, as of right now, from a product point of view. Obviously, from our experiences, product only really comes from experiencing insights and problems. So we won't build or do anything until we experience more insights.
Cool.
I think that kind of wraps up the episode for today. But thanks for your time today. It really means a lot.
Thank you guys.
Cool.
So it was great to be on.
If anyone wants to check out Dan or Relume, all the links are going to be in the description. But guys, if you did enjoy the episode, make sure that you leave a like. If you have any comments about what we said or any new topic ideas, then make sure to leave a comment, and please make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notification button. But hope you enjoyed, guys. See you next week. Bye-bye.
See you guys. Bye.